what we were discussing the past simple and how it's related to the past continuous. We also saw a few examples like this one. I was traveling back from China and we met on the plane, and we found out that traveling was the long action, and met, the past simple, was the short action. And usually the long action, the past continuous, it continues, it doesn't stop. Usually it doesn't stop after the short action comes in the middle. In a way, it's a bit like this. So we discussed this last time. We also did these questions. We finished exercise 2. We did the grammar rule, how to use was and wasn't, and how to use were and weren't. We also talked about how similar the past continuous is to verb to be in the past. So all you need to do is just use verb to be in the past. And then you need to use verb plus ing. So in a way, you're using verb to be plus verb plus ing. So we discussed this. The thing we didn't do, I think we didn't do this part. Exercise 4. It says here, Helen, from the story, Helen is talking about how she met Simon. So choose the correct verb forms. So this is Helen and Simon. Okay, and last time in the story, we decided that number 3, because we did the matching exercise first, when we matched the people to the photos, and we decided that this was their story. We were standing at a bus stop, and he said hello. So this is how Helen and Simon met. This is how it all started, right? But now we're going to listen in, we're going to see a little story. Yeah, there is listening. Okay, good. So we're going to finish the first part of the story by choosing the correct verb form. And then after that, we will do the same thing. We're going to put, we'll put the verbs in the brackets. We need to decide whether to put them in the past simple or whether to use the past continuous. Okay, depending on which one is more suitable, of course. So let's start with the first one, okay? So here, this is Helen talking, and she will tell us how she met Simon. Malak, you need to choose the correct verb form. Okay, so you can read that. You can start with number 1, Malak.
Okay, I first was meeting Simon when we waited. We're waiting for a bus.
Okay, so which one do you want to choose? Okay, let me explain the question for you. So here the question, Malak, the idea, we need to choose one of them, of course.
I first was meeting Simon.
The first one is answered, of course. You don't have to read the other option.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We're waiting for a bus. The first, number 2. I will try on number 2. Just
but you didn't.
I will connect the internet.
All right. Take your time.
Yes, I'm here. I first was meeting Simon when we waited. Meeting. The answer is was meeting.
But it's already answered. Do you see the circle? I first met. So they already used the past simple. I first met Simon when
we were waiting for a bus.
Exactly, that's right, yes. So I first met Simon when we were waiting for the bus. So this means I'm just going to, you're going to give me the answers, and I'm going to cross the wrong answer. So this way we can only read the right answer. Okay, very nice. Can you do number 2?
It rained. Number 2, it rained.
But yeah, it's always best if you read the whole sentence, and then it's easier for you to decide.
Okay. It rained or was raining, and he offered, I was offering me his umbrella. It was raining.
Okay.
And he offered me his umbrella.
That's right. So it was raining and he offered me his umbrella. Very good. So it's easier when you read the whole sentence, because then you can decide which action do you think is the long action and which one is the short action. Okay, same thing for number 3 and 4. Let's check them.
Yes. While we were sitting on the bus, he gave or was giving me his business card. While we sat, while we were sitting on the bus, he gave me his business card.
All right, good. So the first one, correct. Okay.
Okay. But when I was getting home, I couldn't find the card anywhere.
Here there's only one choice.
Okay. When I was getting home, I couldn't find the card anywhere.
Which one sounds more natural to you? Sounds normal to you? I think I got home. You're right. That's the correct answer, yes. When I got home, I couldn't find the card anywhere. Very nice, that's good. Okay, so let's do now the second part of Helen's story. Now this time we are going to listen to her. Well, I think before we listen, because listening is only for checking, I guess. So first of all, we'll try to do it ourselves first. So your job is the same thing. You need to change the verb, because here they will only give you the infinitive verb. Do you see the verbs in the bracket? So here we only have the infinitive, okay? But we don't want, but of course we don't want the infinitive. We need to decide, should we use the past simple or should we use the past continuous? And sometimes it's in the negative, like here. Do you see number 6? Not say, for example, so it's in the negative. So you need to decide, is it the negative of past simple or is it the negative of past continuous, okay? And of course, it's always easier for you, I think, if you read the whole sentence together first, and then this will make it easier for you to decide.
Okay. A week later, I was walking to the bus stop after work, and I saw him in the street. So.
All right, so let me write your answer. It's a little noisy. Is there a television nearby?
Yeah, yes, I will stop it.
Yeah, the volume is a little too, I think it's a bit loud.
Yes.
All right. So so we answered number 5, so it's correct now. Okay, number 6.
Number 6. He talked to a woman, so I not say hello. he was talking to a woman. So
So the first one is correct. He was talking to a woman.
He was talking to a woman, so I didn't say hello. So
That's
I
right.
didn't say hello.
Very nice. So I didn't say hello. So past simple in the second bracket. Very good. Okay, number 7.
Number 7. But while I wait for my bus, a car stopped. But I was waiting for my bus. A car stopped.
All right. So number 8.
Number 8. He offered to drive me home, and I invite him in for a cafe. That be 22 years ago. Just a minute, I think.
Of course, you don't. Not all the sentences need to have past continuous and past simple. Maybe you don't need. Maybe you don't need one of them. Just like example number 4. Do you see? Number 4, we didn't need past continuous, only past simple. So maybe this is the same.
Yes.
And of course, Malak, the clue.
He offered to drive me home, and I was inviting him in for a coffee. That was 22 years ago.
Okay. Now there's a little key here that might help you. So all of this it's in the past, of course, but it feels like finished actions, right? And yes. For finished actions, just like you answered here, offered and was, it feels like past simple is the best tool, the best tense, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's check number 8 again. So he offered to drive me home, and I
was inviting.
All right, so let's write your answer. Okay, so now let's do the listening and let's see if all of them are correct, or maybe there is a mistake. Do you think we have any mistakes?
Maybe, yes.
How many?
Maybe I have. I don't know.
All right, so let's check. I think only one.
Okay.
Only one, just one. Okay, so let's check our tracks. So we need CD1, track 17.
Track 17. I first met Simon when we were waiting for a bus. It was raining and he offered me his umbrella. While we were sitting on the bus, he gave me his business card. But when I got home, I couldn't find the card anywhere. A week later, I was walking to the bus stop after work and I saw him in the street. He was talking to a woman, so I didn't say hello. But while I was waiting for my bus, a car stopped next to me. It was Simon. He offered to drive me home and I invited him in for a coffee. That was 22 years ago.
So, what do you think? Do we have any mistakes?
Yes, maybe one. Just
Which one?
like that.
Uh-huh.
My answer isn't written like before. Maybe that's
Yeah, your answer has disappeared, but I'll give you the answers again, okay? So here are the
okay.
answers. Of course, all of this was correct, by the way. The first section, all of them were correct.
Yes.
So you didn't have any problems here. Now, in the second section, here you wrote, let me put them with the text. So you said saw, and then you said was talking.
Yes.
And you said I didn't say hello.
While I wait.
While I was
While
waiting.
waiting.
This is what you said. And then
Yes.
you said
Stop it.
stopped. And then he offered.
Yes.
And you said was inviting.
Maybe. Yes, was inviting.
Okay. And then you said that was, yeah? What did
Yes.
you answer?
Where?
You
That's
said, did you say
yes,
where
that
or
was.
what?
That was.
Okay. Okay, so let's listen again. Let's check. It's a short track, so we can check again.
Track 17. I first met Simon when we were waiting for a bus. It was raining and he offered me his umbrella. While we were sitting on the bus, he gave me his business card. But when I got home, I couldn't find the card anywhere. A week later, I was walking to the bus stop after work and I saw him in the street. He was talking to a woman, so I didn't say hello. But while I was waiting for my bus, a car stopped next to me. It was Simon. He offered to drive me home and I invited him in for a coffee. That was 22 years ago.
Uh-huh.
Yes. I think invited.
That's right.
I invited.
That's correct, yes. So the correct answer is invited, not inviting. So I invited. Okay, so they're written together. Let's erase them. Let's write it again. All right, so now we have the right answers. Very nice. Okay, so you can read them one more time. You can read the first part, and maybe Mohammed, if he... Are you there, Mohammed? Can you hear us?
Yes.
All right, so we just finished an exercise now, and I'm just going to mark the right answers. Malak is going to read the first section, and then after that you can read the second section. So I'm just taking out the wrong answers. All right, so Malak, you can start with the first part of this is the story of how Helen met her husband Simon. So she's telling us her story, how they met. Okay, so Malak, you can tell us. You can read the first part. Ah, crap. Sorry, disappeared.
Okay. You want me to?
Yes, please. Just read the first section.
I first met Simon when we were waiting for a bus.
Okay, so it's back. Good. Okay. All right. So go ahead.
It was raining. And he offered me his umbrella. While we were sitting on the bus, he gave me his business card. but when I got home, I couldn't find the card anywhere. Yes.
Okay, so Mohammed, can you complete the story of Helen? How Helen met Simon?
Which part?
So here you'll start from number 5.
So
You'll say a week later.
okay. A week later I was walking to the bus stop after work, and I saw him in the street.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you can complete the rest of the story, Mohammed.
Okay. He was talking to a woman, so I didn't say hello. But while I was waiting for my bus, a car stopped next to me. It was Simon. He offered to drive me home, and I invited him in for a coffee. That was 22 years ago.
All right. Okay. And can you read the beginning of number 6 again, please? Just the beginning.
6.
Yes.
Sorry.
Can you see it?
No.
Number 6, can you see it? Hello, are you there, Mohammed?
I can't see it.
You can see it? Okay, so I just wanted you to read the first part because you didn't read the first part correctly. He disconnected. Okay, never mind. So, so this was the story of Helen and Simon. Okay, so let's move on. Now we have a little bit of vocabulary here. So this vocabulary is for relationships. We're going to talk a little bit about relationships. Okay, so I'm going to read these out. I'm going to read them. I'm going to read them aloud. And if there's one of these which are new to you, you can just let me know that these are new. So we have go out with someone, get engaged with someone.
I'm back.
Okay, welcome back. Ask someone out. We have, let me just adjust something, make a little change here. Okay, so here, Mohammed, what we're doing is we're checking out some vocabulary. This vocabulary can be used to talk about relationships. So we have go out with someone, get engaged to someone, ask someone out, get married to someone, fall in love with someone, meet someone for the first time, break up with someone, go on a date, get divorced. All right, so here we have an interesting exercise. What they want us to do here, they want us to put them in order. So they want us to put them in order from the first thing to the last. And there's more than one answer, so there isn't one answer. So it's a bit like an opinion answer, I think, this one. So we're going to answer it according to what we think is the correct answer, and maybe according to what's similar to our culture, maybe. Okay, so let's put these in the correct order. Okay, so let's see Mohammed's answer. Mohammed's answer first. So tell us, what do you think is the first step in a relationship? And you can go from there, 1 to next step, next step, next step, and we'll see what we have.
Meet someone for the first time, I believe that.
Okay, so let me write your answers for you. Then we can compare them to Malak. So meet someone for the first time. This is what you think is the right answer. Okay. What about the second one?
Go out, ask someone out.
Okay, so you think ask someone out, Malak. Okay.
Yes.
Next step.
Go out with someone.
Yes.
Go out with someone. Is this okay, what about number 4?
Number 4, go on a date.
Okay, so go on a date is number 4.
Fall in love with someone.
Okay.
Get engaged to someone.
Get engaged.
What's the meaning of engaged?
Can you explain it, Malak, without saying it in Arabic?
I will try.
Okay.
Engaged when someone want to marry somebody, he ask him to engage before marriage. Engaged to know each other. Yes, that's enough.
Yes, that's correct. It's a good explanation. So this is engagement, Muhammad, is the step before marriage. Even here in Libya, people who want to get married, they first get engaged and then they get married, right?
Okay.
So what is it in Arabic, engagement?
خطوبة.
Correct. Exactly right, yes. All right, so this is get engaged. So what's the next step? So now they're engaged.
Get married. Get
Okay.
married to someone.
So they'll get married. Excuse me.
Maybe break up with someone.
This is after marriage.
Yes, 8.
Okay.
The last one, get divorced.
This is the happy end of the story.
First.
Okay. All right. So this is one way to answer it. Yeah. But I think in Libya maybe it would be a bit different, right?
Yes.
Maybe we have only 3 steps: get engaged, then get married.
Yes, married.
And we need another one. Let me write the last one. It's not included in the box.
As simple as that.
Yeah, this is the last step here. They didn't write it, but I think this is for us. Maybe this is the situation. So you get engaged, you get married, then you get stuck in marriage. That's it. That's the end. Then your children grow older and they get married too. Okay, I'm just but like I said, this is an opinion question. We can answer it any way we want. But I agree with you. I think your this order, it makes sense. It's logical, I think. So we'll leave it there and move on. So we're going to use some of these words before in the next exercise. Yeah, I think in exercise. Let's clean the page first. In exercise 6, we have them. But before we check them in exercise 6, let's take a little look, because here in 129, maybe we have some extra information or maybe some graphs or something. So let's check this first, and then we'll go to exercise 6. So we want to look at page 129. Okay. All right. So there's nothing new, I think, but let's just check, just in case there's something new. All right, so there's nothing new because we know the meaning of all of them. But where's the engagement? Because you asked, do you see this one, Mohammed? This is engagement. He's asking, he wants to be engaged to her, right? Can you see it? Can you see the little picture? Maybe our engagement is a bit different in Libya, but yeah. Okay, so there's a nice tip. I think this is the only new thing. So it says we can say break up with someone or split up with someone. So both of them have the same meaning. So you can break up or you can split up. And it says here, you can be in love, you can be engaged, you can be married, you can be divorced. All right. So here you can also use verb to be to describe these situations: to be in love, to be engaged, to be married, or to be divorced. All right, so nothing new, I think, so we can go back and do exercise 6 now. So let's do exercise 6. So exercise 6 is a nice listening exercise, all right? So we have 2 parts. So we're going to listen first, the first time. Okay, let's put this a little down so you can pay attention only to this section without seeing the next one. All right, so let me read the question for you. Can you see it? Number 6, the first section, number 6A. So it says here, Ray is talking to a friend about how he met his wife, Claire. So we have 2 characters, 3 actually. Ray is talking to a friend about Claire, and Claire is Ray's wife. Listen and choose the correct answer. So it's a listening exercise. Let me play the track for you. This way you can listen and find out. So track 18, let's go to track 18.
Track 18.
How did you meet your wife, Ray?
We first met when she was renting a room in my sister's flat in Brighton.
Was it love at first sight?
Yes, it was. Well, for me anyway.
So what happened?
Well, Claire wanted to improve her English, so she was working in the shop at the museum for the summer. But she said she wasn't practicing her English because most of the people who came to the museum were tourists. So I said, look, I want to practice my French. So let's meet for half an hour every day. We can have 15 minutes speaking French and 15 minutes speaking English.
Right.
So we had lunch in the park near the museum every day and just talked to each other in English and French.
Did you ask her out?
No, I was too shy.
So what happened?
Well, 3 weeks later, her summer job finished and it was time for her to go back to Paris. I went to the airport with her, and while we were waiting for her flight, I gave her a present. It was an English dictionary. She laughed, and I suddenly thought, what if I never see her again? I felt really sad.
And was she sad too?
Yes, she was. She was crying when we said goodbye. Anyway, she gave me her address and asked me to visit her sometime.
So what did you do?
Well, I went straight home, packed a bag, got my passport, and I took a train to Paris.
Not the same day?
Yes, the same day. And her plane was delayed, so I got to Paris first. When she arrived home, I was waiting by the door to her flat.
Were you nervous?
Yes, I was. But I was also in love. And a year later, we got married.
Very romantic. Was the wedding in Paris?
Yes, it was.
And were both your families there?
Yes, they were. It was a great day.
Okay, so that's a very nice story, right? The story
Yes.
of how Ray met Claire. Okay, so let's answer the general questions first, and then we have another few questions here in the bottom. We'll try to answer the second group of questions without listening again, But then, of course, we can listen to confirm. So I'm going to play it again. Don't worry. But let's try without listening. All right. So Ray first met Claire. Where? Where did they first?
In France.
What do you think, Mohammed? Was it in France?
Maybe.
Because Ray, he mentioned the city.
Paris.
Yes, in the end.
Mentioned to Paris.
He mentioned Paris in the end. But in the beginning of the story, he mentioned another city. Not a very famous city. Not a big city, I mean. Okay, so we're going to leave the number one. You can listen again, you can hear it. What about number two? It says she was working in
a museum shop.
All right, so she was working in a museum shop. So let's put all of them here. And let's choose this one. We don't know yet. So let's leave it as question mark. This one, Malak said museum shop. What about number three? They met every day in a... Where did they meet, Malak? Mohammed, where do you think?
I didn't listen that, but I think park.
Do you agree? Mohammed, do you think it's a park?
Agree.
Okay, so let's say it's park, but we're not really sure. We can check it again. Okay, Ray went with Claire. Where did he go? To the airport? To the
airport.
Okay, so he went to the airport. After they said goodbye, Ray took a plane or
a plane.
Are you sure?
I hear a plane.
Okay. Okay, let's see the second question. Let's see if we can answer them before we listen again. Why wasn't Claire speaking much English at work? What's the reason?
Maybe because she is from France.
Yeah, okay, but where was she working when she met Ray?
In a museum shop.
Okay, so is the museum shop in France or in England?
I don't know.
Okay, don't worry. Number two, how long? Number two, how long did Ray practice French with Claire every day?
He want percent.
No, we want here a number. How long? For how much time?
I don't hear.
Okay. Number three, why didn't Ray ask Claire out?
Maybe we want to hear again to know these answers to these questions.
All right, so let's listen again. Let's listen to the listening track one more time. And let's find out. Now, pay attention, even to the ones we answered, just to check them.
Track 18.
How did you meet your wife, Ray?
We first met when she was renting a room in my sister's flat in Brighton.
Was it love at first sight?
Yes, it was. Well, for me, anyway.
So, what happened?
Well, Claire...
What did he say in the beginning when she asked him, how did you meet?
I believe you mentioned the city.
Yeah, what's the city?
In England.
Correct. And
Brighton.
Very good. Excellent, Mohammed. Yes. So he mentioned the city Brighton. So Brighton is a city in England, right? So this means if we want to answer number one, where did they first meet? In France or in England?
England.
That's right. Okay.
How did you meet your wife, Ray?
We first met when she was renting a room in my sister's flat in Brighton.
Was it love at first sight?
Yes, it was. Well, for me, anyway.
So, what happened?
Well, Claire wanted to improve her English, so she was working in the shop at the museum for the summer. But she said she wasn't practicing her English because most of the people who came to the museum were tourists. So I said, look, I want to practice my French. So let's meet for half an hour every day. We can have 15 minutes speaking French and 15 minutes speaking English.
Right.
So we had lunch in the park near the museum every day and just talked to each other in English and French.
Did you ask her out?
No, I was too shy.
So what happened?
Well, 3 weeks later, her summer job finished, and it was time for her to go back to Paris. I went to the airport with her, and while we were waiting for her flight, I gave her a present. It was an English dictionary. She laughed, and I suddenly thought, what if I never see her again? I felt really sad.
Was she sad too?
Yes, she was. She was crying when we said goodbye. Anyway, she gave me her address and asked me to visit her sometime.
So what did you do?
Well, I went straight home, packed a bag, got my passport, and I took a train to Paris.
Not the same day.
Yes, the same day. And her plane was delayed, so I got to Paris first. When she arrived home, I was waiting by the door to her flat.
Were you nervous?
Yes, I was. But I was also in love. And a year later, we got married.
Very romantic. Was the wedding in Paris?
Yes, it was.
And were both your families there?
Yes, they were. It was a great day.
Okay. So this means park, it's correct, right?
Yes.
And Ray went to the airport is also correct.
Yes. Yes.
And after
A
they
plane.
said goodbye, Ray took a... Yes, Mohammed?
Train.
Train, not
Yes.
plane. Is there a train to Paris?
Yes, of course.
How?
I
Because-
didn't
Uh-huh.
know.
I believe a channel under the sea.
Correct. That's right.
I believe that.
That's correct. That's the Channel Tunnel. Because the UK is an island, Malak, right? So there's
Yeah.
sea around it. So how is there a train? But Mohammed is right, because there's a tunnel under the water, under the sea, the Channel Tunnel. So you can take a train to Paris. Okay. All right, very nice. So all of these are correct. The first section, all of it is correct. Now the second section, let's see the answers. Why wasn't Claire speaking much English at work? What's the reason?
I didn't hear this reason.
But where was she working?
I didn't
Museum
understand
shop.
this.
Okay, she was working at a museum shop. What's the problem working?
I think people didn't speak
Correct.
speaking yes.
Yeah, the people don't speak English. Why? Because most of the people that came to the museum,
Tourists.
that's it. Correct, Mohammed. This is the answer they gave in the track. She said, because most of the people who come were tourists. That's why.
Yes.
So tourists don't speak much English either. All right.
Yes.
How long did Ray practice French with Claire each day? For how long?
15 minutes.
For hour, maybe. I listen 2 hour for hour.
No,
3 hours.
actually,
Or 15,
Something as that. 15 minutes in English, 15 minutes in
15 minutes English. Yes.
exactly. That's right. It was 15 minutes English, 15 minutes French. So 15 minutes. That's right. Number 3. Why didn't Ray ask Claire out?
Maybe because he has business. He has work. Something like this. I hear.
But he was in love, right?
Yes.
So why didn't he ask her out?
Maybe I hear he has something.
What's the something?
Maybe about work. I heard that.
Did you hear it, Mohammed? The reason why he didn't ask her out?
No.
Okay, so we can come back to number 3, but it's easy. When you hear it again, you'll hear it directly. Don't worry. Number 4. What were they doing when Ray gave Claire a present? First of all, what was the present?
Gift.
Yeah, what was the gift Ray gave Claire?
I didn't hear.
Did you hear what was the gift, Mohammed?
No.
All right. And the last one, what was Ray doing when Claire arrived home in Paris? What was he doing?
Crying.
Maybe he was crying. Yes. But I think he solved the problem. He didn't have to cry. He did something to help himself so he wouldn't have to cry. He did something instead.
I didn't catch.
All right, so no problem. So this time I want you to focus, because all of the questions here were correct. Now we want to focus on the second part, okay? So let's read just the questions very quickly before you listen, so you know what you're listening for. Why wasn't Claire speaking much English at work? So we said tourist, we could check it. How long did Ray practice French with Claire each day? We said 15 minutes. Why didn't Ray ask Claire out? So this one, we want to listen for this. What were they doing when Ray gave Claire a present? So this means Ray gave her a present. So we want to listen, what was the present and what were they doing when he gave her this present? And then we want to find out, what was Ray doing when Claire arrived home in Paris? So he must have done, or he was doing something. We want to know, what was he doing? All right, so now let's listen again.
Track 18.
How did you meet your wife, Ray?
We first met when she was renting a room in my sister's flat in Brighton.
Was it love at first sight?
Yes, it was. Well, for me anyway.
So what happened?
Well, Claire wanted to improve her English, so she was working in the shop at the museum for the summer. But she said she wasn't practicing her English because most of the people who came to the museum were tourists. So I said, look, I want to practice my French. So let's meet for half an hour every day. We can have 15 minutes speaking French and 15 minutes speaking English.
Right.
So we had lunch in the park near the museum every day and just talked to each other in English and French.
Did you ask her out?
No, I was too shy.
So what happened?
Well, 3 weeks later, her summer job finished and it was time for her to go back to Paris. I went to the airport with her, and while we were waiting for her flight, I gave her a present. It was an English dictionary. She laughed, and I suddenly thought, what if I never see her again? I felt really sad.
And was she sad too?
Yes, she was. She was crying when we said goodbye. Anyway, she gave me her address and asked me to visit her sometime.
So what did you do?
Well, I went straight home, packed a bag, got my passport, and I took a train to Paris.
Not the same day.
Yes, the same day. And her plane was delayed, so I got to Paris first. When she arrived home, I was waiting by the door to her flat.
Were you nervous?
Yes, I was. But I was also in love. And a year later, we got married.
Very romantic. Was the wedding in Paris?
Yes, it was.
And were both your families there?
Yes, they were. It was a great day.
All right. So what was the reason? Why didn't Ray ask Claire out? Because he was? What do we call someone who's a little, who can't ask things in English? There's a word we use. It's only 3 letters. Do you know what it is, Mohammed?
Sorry.
What do we call someone in English who can't ask for things? Who's always a little... Do you know the word, Malak?
I don't know.
Okay, so Malak is connected. Do you know the word, the word shy? Have you heard of this word, Mohammed? So the reason is because he was shy, okay? So the reason is he was shy. This was the reason. And what were they doing when Ray gave Claire a present? So, so the answer for this one is they were
Dress.
What were they doing? They were saying goodbye because they were at the airport. So he was saying, they were saying goodbye.
Yes.
And the last part here, what was Ray doing when Claire arrived home in Paris? Because he arrived there before she did. So he was waiting in front of her flat door. Okay, so these were the answers. So this was the story of Claire and Ray, how they met and how they got married. Okay, so let's check the rest of the exercises.
Pardon.
Sorry?
What's the key to catch to catch listen?
There is no key. It's just it's normal ability, I think. It's a practice thing. The more you do it, the more it becomes the more you become good at it, I think. It's like riding a bicycle, you know? Do you remember when you first started the bicycle, Mohammed?
Yeah.
Do you remember how difficult it was? Every time you sat, you fell down. Every time you sit, you fell down. It's English and most skills, I think, in life, they start like this. In the beginning, they're very annoying. You can't get them. It's difficult. You want to, but you can't. It's a bit hard. But then with a little more of time, it's like suddenly, it's a bit like magic. Suddenly, so I understand this, I know this, I can do this. But if you really want to improve your listening, excuse me. If you really want to improve your listening, Mohammed, I think you should watch lots of TV, lots of series, and use English subtitles. This is very, very important. Because if you do this a lot, you'll get used to hearing words and seeing them at the same time. So it becomes, you become better at it. This is the idea. Okay?
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. All right, so let's go to exercise number 7 now. Now in exercise number 7, let's check it. So we have a little bit of grammar here. All right, so we have the weak forms of was and were. Was and when. So here we have something in English. Remember when we talked about stressed words and unstressed words. We talked about sentence stress. So here there's the same story with was and were. So sometimes they are in the strong form, so you can hear it. You can hear the full word. So was, were, but sometimes it's in the short form, so you don't hear the full word. You can hear it like was and were. Was, were. Not were, was, were. So it becomes like very short. It's a bit like the have, right? When have you been? So it's like when someone asks you, have you been to Paris? They don't say, have you been to Paris? They say, have you been to Paris? And if you answer, you'll say, yes, I have. So have and have. It's a bit like this. It's the same idea here. But so here I'm just going to play the track, and I want you to hear the small difference between was in the strong form and was in the weak form. So you can hear there's a difference, a small difference. And the same thing with were. There's also a difference between the strong form and the weak form. So let's listen to this.
Track 19. Was, were, were.
Did you hear it? Did you hear the small difference?
Yes.
Yeah, so here they just want you to know that sometimes was is pronounced was, and sometimes it's pronounced in the different way, the short form, the weak form. The same thing for were. Now, here we're going to go to the script in page 145. Listen again and notice how we say was and were. And then we have a question. The question says, are was and were usually strong or weak in sentences, questions, and short answers? So this means we are going to compare the sound of was and were. We're going to compare them in sentences, in questions, and in short answers. So we want to find out, when do we use the strong form, the was, the normal form, and when do we use the weak form, the was? And the same thing with where and were. So we want to see when we do this. Is it in sentences? Is it in questions? Is it in short answers? So we're going to go to...
I think weak in sentence.
The weak in sentences, you think?
I think that
the weak, Muhammad, or the
strong.
The strong. You're talking about the strong. The strong in sentences, you think?
No. Weak in sentence.
Aha. So you think the weak in sentences, and what about the strong?
Questions.
All right.
I think.
Yeah, you can guess. It's okay, no problem. What about the short answers? What do we use in short answers?
Weak.
Weak. Okay, so we can confirm this by going to the script. So I'm going to take you to the script. So the script is usually the writing of the listening track, okay? So I'm going to take you to page 155, and let's see. No, not this one. Okay, here it is. Okay, so we're going to start here in track 18. Can you see where we are now, Mohammed? Track 18?
Yes.
Okay, do you see the key? It says words in pink. This means it's a weak form of was and were, okay? And words in blue, this is the strong form of was and were, all right?
Yes.
So let's go to the beginning of the conversation. So the conversation starts here. And let's play the track so we can listen and follow at the same time. So let's do this. Let's listen and follow the script at the same time.
Track 18.
How did you meet your wife, Ray?
We first met when she was renting a room in my sister's flat in Brighton.
Was it love at first sight?
Yes, it was. Well, for me anyway.
So, what happened?
Well, Claire wanted to improve her English, so she was working in the shop at the museum for the summer. But she said she wasn't practicing her English because most of the people who came to the museum were tourists. So I said, look, I want to practice my French. So let's meet for half an hour every day. We can have 15 minutes speaking French and 15 minutes speaking English.
Right.
So we had lunch in the park near the museum every day and just talked to each other in English and French.
Did you ask her out?
No, I was too shy.
So what happened?
Well, 3 weeks later, her summer job finished and it was time for her to go back to Paris. I went to the airport with her, and while we were waiting for her flight, I gave her a present. It was an English dictionary. She laughed, and I suddenly thought, what if I never see her again? I felt really sad.
Was she sad too?
Yes, she was. She was crying when we said goodbye. Anyway, she gave me her address and asked me to visit her sometime.
So what did you do?
Well, I went straight home, packed a bag, got my passport, and I took a train to Paris.
Not the same day.
Yes, the same day. And her plane was delayed, so I got to Paris first. When she arrived home, I was waiting by the door to her flat.
Were you nervous?
Yes, I was. But I was also in love. And a year later, we got married.
Very romantic. Was the wedding in Paris?
Yes, it was.
And were both your families there?
Yes, they were. It was a great day.
What do you notice, Mohammed?
Yes.
Which ones are used more? The weak forms, the pink ones, or the blue form, the strong one? What do you think?
Pink.
Pink more, right? So they use the weak form. Was this short one?
Weak forms.
Yeah, the weak form is much more common. And let's answer the question. So the question was asking, when do we use the weak form? Do we use it in sentences, or in questions, or in short answers? When we say short answers, we mean yes, no answers, yes, no question, the answers of yes, no question. Okay, so let's take this example. Was the wedding in Paris? Was the wedding in Paris? So we use the weak form in a question, right? And here we have another question. Were you nervous? Were you nervous? Do you see this one? It's also a weak form, and it's a question. And then we have a sentence. If you look here, it says, she was crying when she said goodbye. She was crying when she said goodbye. She was crying. So this is a sentence. So this means we use the weak form, we use it in questions, and we use it in sentences. Now, if you check the strong form, we only use the strong form in the short answer. Look here. It says, yes, she was. Because look at the question. And was she sad too? Was she sad too? Yes, she was. Do you see the difference? Was. So here in the question, it's short. In the answer, it becomes strong. Weak, not short. Weak, strong. Again, in the question, were you nervous? Yes, I was. So weak, strong. Another time, were both your families there? Were both your families there? Were. So weak, strong. Yes, they were. It was a great day. All right, so now we have the answer. So we can go back and we can answer the question. So the question, it said, Are, was, and were usually in the strong or weak in sentences. So in sentences, they are weak. In questions, they are weak. But in short answers, they are strong. Okay? So if you're using a sentence or a question, most of the time, this will be in the weak sound. Was, were, not was, were. Okay, so this is just for pronunciation. All right, so now the next part here, we have a little bit of grammar. Let's do the grammar part. Okay, it says look at questions 4 and 5 in exercise 6b, then fill in the gaps in the rule. Okay, so let's see the rule. What does it say? It says we make past continuous questions with a question word plus something or something plus subject plus. Let's see questions number 4 and 5. Let's look at past continuous questions. So here we have 4 and 5. What were they doing? What were they doing? Let's put this here. So we use question words, what, then we say were or was, then the subject, then verb plus ing. So if we write the example here, so let's write number 4 and 5. So here we have what were they doing? And in the next example, I didn't read it, but let's check it. In the next example, it says, what was Ray doing? So sometimes it's was, and sometimes it's were. So what was Ray doing? Let's write question number 5 here. What was Ray doing? All right, so this means here we use a WH question word, then we use was or were. So it depends. Sometimes we use was, and sometimes we use were. And then we use verb plus ing. Plus. All right, so this is just how we make question words, how we make, questions with the past continuous, okay? So now here, let's take a little revision and let's look at page 131 and we can see how we make questions with, the past continuous, okay? So let's go to page 131. Here it is. So this is how we make questions with the past continuous. I think it's kind of clear. We use the WH words, the WH question words. We use the auxiliary were or was, and of course the subject, I, you, we, they, and he, she, it, or the name of the person. Then we use verb plus ing. So this is how we make a WH question word, a WH question using the past continuous, okay? So now let's go back and let's check our next exercise. So here in our next exercise, it says, choose a married couple you know. For example, you and your husband, wife, your parents, relative, make ideas. Okay, so I think this one we can skip. When, where, and how they met. Where is their first date? So I think here you have to talk about someone you know. So we can say, for example, if I want to talk about my friend and his wife, I can say they met when they were in college. They met and at the university cafe. and their first date was at an Italian restaurant, and they went out together for 2 months before they got married, and they got engaged after the second week. They got married in 1982 in their father's house. Any other interesting information? Now they have 2 children. So here it's you just need to talk about a couple that you know, so we can skip this one. And this is an example how you can tell your friends about it. My parents first met at work. Where were they living at the time? In Madrid. They were working for blah blah. Okay, so we just need to talk about a couple we know in this question. Okay, now in this lesson, we're going to talk a little bit about something different. We're going to talk about coincidences. Coincidence. So a coincidence is usually when something happens that 2 things happen at the same time, and it's a bit strange that they happen at the same time. It's a bit like this. So this is what we call a coincidence. In this lesson, we will talk a little bit about a few adjectives, some connecting words, and we will do some reading. So let's start with the first question. What is a coincidence? Do you know any interesting stories about coincidences? And if so, tell the class. Okay, can you tell us, Mohammed, if you know any interesting coincidences? Something maybe that's strange or maybe a little abnormal. Can you tell us? All right, so here, let's talk a little bit about coincidences. Here we have a few words. We have sync, a few verbs, I think, mixed, not just verbs. So we have sink, the past is sank. We have survivor, drown, restaurant owner, shoot, and the past is shot. All right, no problem. Okay, Mohammed, if you want to كان بدي ترتاح محمد. التسجيل قاعد هو قاعد ريكوردينج هو، واني ما زال عندي الوقت، يعني مش حنوقف لين تكمل الساعه، سواء انت قاعد ولا مشيت ارتحت، عرفت؟ ف if you want you can just you can have a nap now. ممكن الافضل هيك صح ولا؟ انك انت تاخذ ناب، ترقد تو ترتاح، بحيث بعدين يعني تقدر تشوف هالمحاضرة على راحتك وانت مركز. So it's up to you if you want to leave. بالضبط هيك، انت بتمشي عندك الإذن من ناحيتي انا يا باشمهندس، عندك الإذن ما تدورش. يعني انا حنكملها هيك، ولكن المحاضرة ما زال فيها 40 دقيقة، باش كلها تفضل في التسجيل وتلقاها بعدين هي واللي قبلها ان شاء الله محملات تلقاها. Alright, so don't worry.
Okay.
Okay then, I'll see you next time, Mohammed. Thanks for your time. Okay, so let's continue. So here we have a few words. Now I'm going to read the article for you, and we will match the 3 coincidences. We have coincidences 1, 2, 3, and we will match them to A, B, and C. So let's see the pictures and let's see the coincidences. So let's zoom out a bit and let's find the pictures. So these are our pictures. We have A, we have B, and we have C. Let's read the coincidences. So that's incredible. Many of us experience strange coincidences at some time in our lives. For example, we might meet people we know in the most unexpected places. Perhaps when we're on holiday thousands of miles from home, we suddenly see our neighbor on the beach. In fact, this type of coincidence is quite common, but there are coincidences which are really incredible. Here are 3 of the strangest. Number 1, an unbelievable sorry, excuse me. An unbelievable coincidence happened on a beach near Salem, USA. In 1965, a woman called Alice Blaze saved a 4-year-old child from drowning in the sea. The boy's name was Roger Lausier. In 1974, on the same beach, Roger saved a man from drowning. The man he saved was Alice Blaze's husband. Number 2, if you're traveling by boat, the luckiest name to have is Hugh Williams. On the 5th of December 1660, a boat sank near Dover, England. There was just one survivor, a man called Hugh Williams. On the 5th of December 1767, another boat sank in the same area, and the only survivor was another man called Hugh Williams. On the 8th of August 1820, a boat sank on the River Thames, and there was only one survivor. His name was also Hugh Williams. The next extraordinary coincidence in this story happened on the 10th of July 1940. A man and his uncle were the only survivors after a fishing boat sank out at sea. They were both called Hugh Williams. Okay, so Hugh Williams is a very good name to have. Number 3, in the 19th century, King Umberto I of Italy went to a small restaurant in Monza for dinner. The king noticed that he and the owner of the restaurant looked exactly like each other. They began talking and discovered some amazing coincidences. They were both born in the same town on the same day, 14th of March 1844, and they both had wives called Margherita. Also, Umberto became king on the same day that the restaurant owner opened his restaurant. However, there was one last unfortunate coincidence. On the 29th of July 1900, the restaurant owner died in a shooting accident. While someone was telling King Umberto I about this, a man shot and killed the king. So this is another interesting coincidence. All right, so we can see here that we had the story of 3 coincidences, and our job now is to match them. So the first thing, let's match the photos. So A, of course, will probably be the third coincidence here, this story. So number 3 is A. B, of course, is probably number 2, the one about Hugh Williams. And this is the story of the woman, of Alice, who saved the 4-year-old. So this is number 1. So here we have a few questions about the article. So number 1, who nearly drowned in the sea in 1965? Of course, the boy, Roger Lausier is the one. And who saved him? The woman saved him. Her name was Alice Blaze. Alice saved him. What happened at the same beach 9 years later? So 9 years later, the boy here saved her husband. What do the stories about people called Hugh Williams have in common? So all of the Hugh Williams in these, or the Hugh Williamses, if we want to put it in plural, all of them survived boat sinking accidents. So in all these stories, almost in every story, a boat sank, and the people who survive it are called Hugh Williams. All right. Now, number 4, did the 2 survivors in 1940 know each other? Yes, the 2 survivors knew each other because they were related, a man and his uncle. All right. Now, number 5, what did King Umberto I and the restaurant owner have in common? Find at least 4 things. Let's find the 4 things. First of all, they look like each other, so they have a resemblance. This is the first thing in common. They looked like each other, and they were both born in the same town on the same day. So this is another thing they have in common. Hello, welcome back, Malak.
Hello, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, don't worry.
My internet is cut.
No, don't worry. The missing part was recorded, so don't worry. You can see it when I post it.
Okay.
All right, so I was just answering here a few questions about the article, but now that you're back, I'm going to give you some time to read it. It's a very nice article here. We're talking about coincidences. Coincidences. Do you know what it means when we say coincidence? What is a coincidence? Have you heard of this word, coincidence?
No, I didn't hear about this word.
Okay, so a coincidence, and I'll try to explain it, is when two strange events, two events happen at the same time. And these events are very strange. Like, for example, you travel to another country, and then next to you in the bus, you see your neighbor, for example. Do you understand? And it's very strange to see someone you know in a faraway place, for example. Do you get the idea? So it's like something very random that's not planned, it's unplanned, and it's a bit strange. So two things happening at the same time in a strange way. Do you get the idea?
Yeah.
So what do we call this in Arabic when you have something like this happening? For example, let's think of another example of something coincident. Let's say, you're waiting in a bank, and you see someone that used to study with you from 20 years ago, and they also use the same bank as you do. So they're also waiting, and you never expected to see this person, for example. This is a coincidence. It's something that happens by chance. No one planned for this.
It means يتزامن.
Okay, this is, yes. This is the formal meaning, حاجة متزامنة، لكن المعنى اللي زي ما تقولي بالليبي نقولوا صدفة مصادفة يعني.
Yes.
زي مصادفة، بمعنى مصادفة غريبة أو صدفة غريبة. هيك قصدي يعني. Okay, so
yes.
this is the meaning of coincidence. Coincidence. So here we're going to learn about a few interesting stories about coincidences. Okay, do you know any interesting stories, Malak, about strange coincidences? صدف غريبة, maybe something that happened to you or something you've heard about. Do you know any stories?
Not in my mind at this moment. Maybe I heard about stories like this, but I don't remember now.
All right, okay. So here we're going to read about some 3 interesting, very, very interesting coincidences. Okay, so, but before we read, we need to check a few words. So let's see if we understand all of these words first. So we have the word sink, and the past is sank. Do you know what sink means? Can you explain it in English?
Sink. In English, I didn't know, but sink maybe it when somebody in the water and put his head on the water. It means sink.
Okay, good. You're close. But what about drown?
Drown.
Do you know drown? Okay.
No.
So what you described when a person puts his head underwater, or maybe when you die underwater, this is called drown.
Yes.
So if you stay underwater and you can't breathe, and you swallow all the water and the water goes in your lungs and you die, this is called drowning. To drown.
Drowning, yes. Yes.
Drowning, okay?
Yes.
Drown. But what you described for sink, sink is the same thing, but not for living things. For boats, for chairs, for phones. So if you drop your phone in the water, it will sink, of course.
Yes.
All right. But for people and animals, we use drown for things which are alive, which are living beings. Now, survivor, I think you know survivor.
Yes.
Yeah, someone who doesn't die in an accident, right?
Yes.
Correct. Okay, now we have a restaurant owner. I think this is clear, someone who owns or someone who has a restaurant. And of course, shoot, and the past is shot, shoot, shot. I think you know this. And of course, I think you know the word accident. So these are just some of the words which you will see in this story. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can read this. All right, so I think it's like okay, but before you read, let me show you the question you need to do. It says read the article, then match the coincidences. So we have 3 stories, 3 coincidences, 1, 2, 3. And first job is to match 1, 2, 3. We want to match them with pictures A, B, C. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So first of all, let's read 1, 2, 3. But let's start with the first part. This part, when you finish, when you get here, just tell me so I can move the page, okay? So I can scroll down. You can start reading, Malak.
Okay. Who nearly drowned in the sea in 1965?
No, sorry. I mean, read the article on the right side. Can you see the right side?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So first of all, before you answer, you need to read it.
Okay. Yes. Many of us experience strange coincidences at some time in our lives. For example, we might meet people we know in the most unexpected places. Perhaps when we're on holiday, thousands of miles from home, we suddenly see our neighbor on the beach. In fact, this type of coincidence is quite common, but there are some coincidences which are really incredible. Here are 3 of strangest. Yes.
Okay, so let me show you the 3. These are the 3 coincidences. So you can read the coincidences now, 1, 2, and 3. But you don't have to read them aloud, of course, Malak. You can just read it normally. You don't have to read it with a loud voice. We just want to read it to answer the first part of the question, which is
okay.
So first of all, we just want to match. And then after that, we can answer the questions together. Okay. So
Okay,
take your
okay.
time, read it, and then match, and then we'll see.
Okay.
Mhm. Okay, have you finished?
Just a minute.
All
The
right.
last paragraph. The last paragraph. Yes, I finished.
All right, that's good.
Yes.
Okay, so let's do the first part of the question. They want you to match 1, 2, 3 with the photos A, B, C. Okay, so let's see.
Okay.
What do you think?
Number 1, B.
Number 1 is B.
And yes. No, number 1, C. Number 1, C.
Okay, correct.
Number 2, B.
Uh-huh.
Number 3, A.
Okay, all right. So let's see the questions here. So the first question, it says, who nearly drowned in the sea in 1965?
Who nearly drowned in the sea in 1965 and who saved him? Drown is young child. Yes, child from drowning. Coincidence happened. Salim. Salim. Yes, Salim. He is drowned.
If you look a little carefully, a little more carefully, you can find it. It's not in the first sentence.
Yes. Who is saved? Who is saved him? I think Salim, he is drowned, and the old women, young women called Alice, places saved 4 years old child from drowning in the sea.
Okay, and what's the child's name?
Child Salim. Roger Laster.
Correct.
Yes, the boy.
The boy's
yes.
name was Roger. Yes.
Roger Laster.
And that's his last name, Lausier. Lausier. I don't know how to say it. Correct, correct. So the boy's name is Roger. Who saved Roger?
Alice Blaze.
Correct.
Saved the yes.
Yeah, the woman. Her name is the woman's name is Alice Blaze. Very nice. All right, number 2. What happened at the same beach 9 years later?
What happens in the beach? In the same beach. Roger saved a man from drowning. The man he saved was Alice Blaze's husband.
Yes. So that's an interesting coincidence, right?
Yes.
So 9 years later, Roger saved the Alice's husband, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And usually have in common.
Okay. Now
what do
about,
the stories?
Now here we have number 3. Yeah. What do the stories about people called Hugh Williams have in common? So what does it mean, have in common?
I don't know.
Okay. So have in common, it means what is the same thing between them. So if someone asks the question, what do they have in common? It means what is the thing similar to each other. This is the meaning of. So for example, I like the color yellow, you like the color yellow, Muhammad likes the color yellow, and Shams likes the color yellow, for example. And if someone asks, what's the thing in common between all these people? The thing in common is the color yellow. We all like it. Do you get the idea?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so الشيء المشترك يعني هذا معنى thing in common.
Okay. Maybe drowned.
Okay, correct. The story is all about drowning and,
yes.
and sinking boats, yeah?
Yes.
But what do the people called Hugh Williams have in common? What's the thing in common? In about all the Hugh Williams people in this story, because there's not only one person called Hugh Williams. There are many people. I
Yes.
think almost 4 or 5 Hugh Williams. Hugh
Hugh
Williams.
Williams.
Sorry.
Yes. لك سنين.
Okay, it's a lucky name. Why is it a lucky name?
Because
What happened to all the Hugh Williamses? To all the
he is.
what happened to them in the story? All of them. All the Hugh.
Yes. All of them survivor.
Exactly. That's it. That's
Yes.
the correct answer. Very good. All of them are survivors. None of them drowned. All of them survived. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, this is the thing in common. Very good. So all of them are survivors. All of them are survivors. Very good. All right, now number 4. Did the two survivors in 1914, did the two survivors in 1914 know each other?
No. No.
But check it. Check if they know each other or not.
Okay.
The last 3 sentences start from the next extraordinary coincidence.
Yes. Yes, a man and his uncle.
So
Maybe.
this means, and both of them, what were they called?
Hugh Williams.
Yeah, both of them were called Hugh Williams. So the man and his uncle had the same name, right?
Yes.
I think this is common, even here in Libya. For example, if you have a common name and a common last name, for example, Mohammed Rabilsi, Mohammed Kituri, Mohammed, or something like this, one of the common names and surnames. Sometimes the boy and the uncle, sometimes they have the same name, right? Or not common in Libya, what do you think?
Yes, come on.
Yeah, I think it's normal. All right, now number 5. What did King Umberto I and the restaurant owner have in common?
Find at least 4 things. Okay.
Yeah, we want 4 things in common.
Okay. Number 1, his name, wife's names are the same thing. That's the
Okay.
first.
Okay.
Yes, and also Umberto became king on the same day.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that the restaurant owner opened his restaurant.
Yes.
Okay, so this is
and there are unfortunate coincidences. On 29th July 1900, the restaurant owner died in a shooting accident.
And what about the king?
Yes, a man shot and killed the king.
Yes, so both of them were killed by gunfire. Both of them were shot dead, right?
Yes.
Okay,
and they were both born in the same town.
Correct.
Yes, on the same day.
Town on the same day.
On the same day. And on the same town, yes.
Yeah, so these are the 4 coincidences. Very good. All right, so which of these 3 stories do you think, so here this is part B, which coincidence do you think is the most surprising and why? In your opinion, Malak, which of these 3 coincidences, these 3 stories, do you think is the strangest or the most surprising?
Okay.
What do you think? Which one? In your opinion, of course.
I think the second one.
The second one? The one about the name, Hugh Williams.
Yes, because there are some accident about a boat, and everyone survivor is the same name.
Yes, I agree. I think it's a strange coincidence, very strange. Each time the survivor has the same name, Hugh Williams. So if your name is Hugh Williams, maybe you'll survive the maybe you'll survive a boat
Yeah.
accident. All right, so here we have this is the beginning of our story. We have some nice coincidences. Now here we have some adjectives, a little bit of vocabulary. Now what they want you to do is, it says try to match the adjectives in bold in the article to the definitions. So we have a few bold articles, okay? Bold adjectives. Let me read the bold adjectives. We have strength. Oh, you can read them, okay? Go ahead, Malak.
Okay. Where it is, please?
On the right side in the story, in the article.
Yes, yes. Strange, unexpected, incredible, unbelievable, extraordinary, amazing, and yes, unfortunate.
All right. So these are our adjectives. Now we want to match their meaning here. We want to match them to.
Yes. Okay.
So the first one is
B,
answered. The second one, you don't
amazing.
expect it to happen.
Unexpected.
All right. So let's write this. So you think this is unexpected. Uh-huh. What about unlucky or having a bad result?
Unfortunate.
All right. So unfortunate. What about very difficult to believe?
Very difficult, unbelievable.
There are two, not just one. One of them is unbelievable, correct? But there's another one.
Yes, unbelievable. Yes.
And
Extraordinary.
pretty sure.
Yes, I think extraordinary. That's what I see.
Let me show you the other one.
Okay. Mm.
What do you think? Okay, let's write it. Maybe you're right. Let's write it because we can check it. So even if it's wrong, it's not.
We don't have another word. Incredible, but it is not.
Okay, let's write your first answer. Extraordinary. What about very unusual?
Oh no, extraordinary, very usual. I think you asked me about that.
No.
You want another word too, very difficult to believe, and incredible.
All right.
Yes. The last one, extraordinary.
But even the last one, we need two. So one of them is extraordinary. But what's the other one? What do you think?
Okay. From this paragraphs?
Yes.
I don't see any words. Another words.
No other words?
No.
I think there's one word we didn't use. What's the word we didn't use?
We don't use, I think, strange.
Right. Strange
Yes.
is the word we didn't use. So maybe it's the right answer, right? Let's
Yes.
write it and let's then check. All right. So now let's check our answers. 129. Let's see if these are right. Okay, so amazing
Yes.
is very surprising, unexpected, unexpected, unfortunate, unlucky, like you said, incredible and unbelievable are together, like your answer. Strange and extraordinary are together. So this means your answers are correct, right?
Yes. Yes.
All right, so this means the answers are correct. Okay, so this is all for today. Next lesson, we will do a few more exercises like this. I think here we have, let's see what we have in this lesson. Let's look before. So we have some listening. So we have some nice, we have a bit of listening.
Mhm.
Then in grammar, we also have connecting words like while, when, because, and we'll see how to use them. All right, so we'll do this next lesson. Thank you for your time. And you can find the recorded part that you missed when you disconnected in the recording, inshallah. When I upload it, you can find it, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Goodbye.
Okay,
Goodbye.
so bye-bye. Good night.
Bye.